I'm going in the little, room over there. Yes.
It's cool in there. That's the coolest room.
Yeah, I'm hang out in there.
I'm a person in a brand new position.
I'm not warm. So I'm not wet as much as you are.
It's hot. I'm hot, so yeah, it's hot. I think it's warm. Yep.
Did you use the money that we've raised to buy those clothes? Is that what you did? I did, and I love it.
He's looking pretty GQ, isn't he?
I'm gonna walk out there and look. Hey, so one thing, I grew up in Albuquerque, and the Chicanos, they're aerodynamic, right? Yeah. You know how they walk, right? First they start off with their feet kind of like this, and then they put their fingers. Now, the fingers are important because they got that pot belly, right? So when they step off, right? They step off like this. Right? And they look at you like, hey, I'm aerodynamic. We'll walk out there on stage like that.
Oh, it is.
I see Brian like, do the squat those. Oh, no, I can't do that anymore. I can't, I can't bend my knee that far.
Hey, you want to go take you ready to go sit down with next tomorrow?
Glad to see there's a decent crowd.
Be around y'all.
I'll see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who has your mom today, right now? Because they're streaming it. Who has it? Thursday.
If they're streaming, it's on our Facebook page.
I know, that's what we're trying to figure out who's the caretaker today. Bill's here. Harold is here. Our other caretaker.
Okay. My dad was born in October.
All right.
But she, son says the 12th, she died. I don't know.
Chicken.
I only eat free range chicken.
Well, it's good to see somebody young getting involved with this.
Free chicken.
Then it's Gracie.
We
head that direction.
Walking back in the hallway.
Another minute or two.
Oh, we don't use it anymore.
Well, and that's where it's going to stay for now. When they tried to move it, they discovered that the wheels on it were broken. They've got to get some new wheels on them of the whatever, the base or whatever. So what, she never fairly used on wheels. She says, yeah, broken ones.
Morgan, 15 years old.
It just got warm on Judas.
Judas always raises the temperature. Judas just raises the temperature.
You're always limited.
Time for the
That is just a hair. She wants it there. So, I said, my guess is you're going to have to come up the ramp. Because Point. don't know where. Yeah, he was down here, down front. He's down front? He's down front, right in front of Hot Wheels. Good job. See, should have been the narrator instead of. I know. Sorry. Hey, listen, I jumped right at this.
No,
See you later.
take care. Snake master.
If it did, I didn't know.
Hopefully not.
Because the ground is so.
I got it memorized. If you get to lines, get up there, one else can just read it. I got it most of it. There might be some pause for effects. I don't know your lines. Nobody gonna turn around and look at this.
Yeah, that's true. There's that movie, The Anchorman. If you put it on the teleprompter, he's gonna read it. Whatever you put on
I'm just like, is that what?
Said something. Saw something about.
You see how we sit behind these movie stars in front of us?
Oh, yeah.
We should have done that. Everybody see us now. Not incognito anymore. Keep the lights on. We didn't know, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it actually does look good. Yeah.
We're gonna have an abstraction.
My wife's gonna get it. Bill know I can act too.
The more I think your wife is the same.
Martha said,
So the last part, the curtain's gonna come down, I guess, or the whatever.
Scott or somebody. Colleagues and whatever. That was so cool to have been invited, and the fact that they included both members from our choir as well as from the first choir. Yes, he worked with both. And the men's choir that is up there. They're singing now. So. All right, Brad, let's get this show on the road. Well, I'm going to go make myself useful over here one. Sounds like fun. I know. Yeah.
I have I'm gonna have to take my glasses off or I'm gonna fog them up. A little more than a minute. Yeah. Few. Your family. They're sitting in the front row. Your father. Old in-laws. No.
because I want them to pick up the same ones they use, and they're going to come around the table and get them this way. You have the lights, right? You're going to light the candles? Okay. Yeah, the lighters, it should be. And I think the top's already off the candles. Yeah. Good evening and welcome to First United Methodist Church in Killeen. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful that you have chosen to join us for this sacred and dramatic journey tonight. The voices you will hear this evening carry great weight and meaning, and we invite you to give them your full attention. So as we prepare to begin, we ask you to silence any cell phones that you have or anything that is a noise-making device. Tonight, we return to one of the most intimate and heartbreaking moments in history. On this night, Jesus gathers with his 12 closest friends, men he has walked with, prayed with, taught, and loved. As we gather around this table in this upper room, Jesus will speak the words that will forever change their lives. One of you will betray me this night. You will hear the voices of the disciples as they wrestle with the shock, the fear, the doubt, and disbelief, each questioning how such a betrayal could exist among them. You will also hear from the women who faithfully followed Jesus, offering insight, clarity, and depth to the emotions unfolding in this sacred space. This is not simply a story to be told. It is an experience to be shared. As this evening unfolds, you will listen to the stories told by disciples. You will witness as Jesus shares this Last Supper with his friends. And you will be invited to partake in the sacrament of Holy Communion. In the tradition of the First United Methodist Church, we believe that this is Christ's holy table. It is open to all who seek forgiveness and desire to walk with Jesus in their hearts. At the conclusion of tonight's performance, the altar rail will remain open. If you feel led by the Spirit to come forward, to pray, to reflect, or simply to rest in God's presence, as you are warmly invited to do so. So as we depart the sanctuary this evening, we ask that you do so in reflective silence, allowing the sacred weight of this night and the presence of Christ to linger in your heart and to go with you beyond these walls. So now we invite you to settle in, open your hearts, and allow yourselves to be carried back in time, back to the night, back to the table, back to the Last Supper of Jesus Christ.
Jerusalem was full, crowded with pilgrims, loud with prayer. Yet above the city's clamor, there was a room set apart, a table waiting, bread unbroken, lamps still unlit. Passover had come, a night of remembrance, a night of deliverance, and still our hearts were uneasy. He had asked that everything be made ready, not knowing what this night would hold, only knowing he was walking towards it without fear. So we prepared the room with careful hands and trembling hearts, for love was about to speak, and the world was about to change.
The city, it's overrun with pilgrims, but he's asked us to be ready. This room, it has to be perfect.
Perfect, Martha? Nothing's perfect. Streets whisper, flocks around, and the air feels heavy.
And yet, he walked through none of those troubles him. Nothing troubles him, as if he carries peace the way others carry fear.
He carries more than peace alone. He carries purpose. I saw it in his eyes. I saw it in his sorrow.
You think he knows what awaits him?
Then why come to Jerusalem? Why not stay in Galilee, where the crowds adore him?
Because he loves to walk towards suffering, not away from it.
My Jesus has walked this path since the day he was born. Every step has led him here. And though my heart aches, I will not stay away from him.
We're all with you, all of us.
And with him, whatever this night becomes,
This room be ready. Let us hold whatever heaven has written for us tonight.
may the Holy One give him strength for what must come.
We watched them enter, men who had walked with him through storms and miracles, men who had left everything to follow him. Yet tonight, they seemed uncertain, as if the shadows clung to their feet.
This is the place Jesus spoke of. The master of the house has prepared it as he said.
Even those things we wish were done.
Brother, you speak as though you expect sorrow.
I expect truth. This truth lately has been heavy as of late.
as if they're whispering. Something is coming.
Something always comes when he speaks of the kingdom.
Yes, it's different. It's as if the kingdom is imposing its hours.
You see the faces that carry the fear like, whoa.
Fear and love, they would die for each one. They do not yet understand what dying for them truly means.
He spoke again tonight of his suffering. Why must he speak so? This is Passover, a night of deliverance.
Perhaps deliverance will be different than we expect. Not yet, not yet.
As he did for the child. Purposeful, quiet, steady. Steps are steady.
My friends, come, let us sit.
And so they reclined at the table, 12 men chosen, 12 hearts trembling. We felt the air tighten as if heaven itself leaned close to listen.
Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me this night.
My name is Nathaniel, though you may know me as Bartholomew. Like many of the men sitting at this table, I was a fisherman before Jesus called me. Just an ordinary life. Water, nets, long days, even longer nights. I will never forget the day that I first heard about him. I was coming in from the sea. I was tired. I was sore. But I saw my friend Philip. He came running down the hill at me. His eyes were wild. He was out of breath. He said, "We have found the one whom Moses and the prophets wrote. It is Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." I remember thinking, Nazareth? Nazareth? I'll be honest, I questioned it. Not out of spite or hate, but it was such a small, insignificant, forgettable town. So I said, how can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Well, Philip didn't argue with me, and he didn't preach at me. He simply said, come and see. So when I got to see the Master, he looked at me and he said, here is an Israelite in whom there is nothing false. Well, I was shocked. I said, how do you know me? He said, before Philip called you, you were lying under a fig tree. I got to be honest, I don't remember ever being under a fig tree. But then I remembered, my mother told me, when I was a baby and she would go work in the field, she would lay me underneath a fig tree. So at that time I knew Jesus knew me my whole life. He knew me before I even knew about him. At that point I believed. And then Jesus again turned on me and he said, you believe because I told you I saw you under a fig tree. Truly I tell you, you will see far more wondrous things than this. And I have. I've witnessed him give sight to the blind. I've witnessed him heal the leper. I even watched him bring a man back from the dead. And here we are, celebrating this sacred meal, the Passover. And he tells us that one of us is going to betray him? How can a betrayer be so close? How can they break this bread, share this meal? How can it be? And I look around the table and I ask, does the betrayer even know that they're going to betray him? Do they even know the darkness that's welling in their own heart? But then I look and I turn it inward. Could it be me? Is it I? Is it I?
Like Zacchaeus, I'm a tax collector. Some call me Levi, and others, well, they call me Matthew the publican. When my character changed through my fellowship with Jesus, he changed my name as well. He called me one day when I was sitting in my office collecting taxes. And I rose and followed him. Later, I gave up my home. And many of the disciples, my business friends, attended. When some of the Pharisees complained about Jesus eating with publicans and sinners, simply said, who are well have no need for a physician, but those who are sick. Since that day, when I repented, I studied the scripture closely, and now I'm convinced that Jesus is fulfillment of every prophecy of the coming Messiah. God's anointed. I listened carefully to his sermon. And someday, proving he's the Messiah from our sacred writing and recording the sermon, the sermon about the good news of God. He first delivered on Mount of Galilee 3 years ago. It's a huge gospel. Good news for all the world. And yet, He had just spoken bad news. Tragic news. One of us. One of us betrayed him. Who could it be? Would they respect me because I was once a hated tax collector? Do I suspect myself? Is it I? Is it I?
Because I'm lesser in stature than other men of the same name. Since my father's name is Alphaeus, sometimes they call me James, the son of Alphaeus. I'll never forget the day I first saw the Master. I was walking along the road close by where John was baptizing, and I wanted to get a closer look. So I sneaked into the crowd. It was there I saw Jesus asking John to baptize him, and at first John refused. But then Jesus insisted, and so John baptized him. And when Jesus came up out of the water, we saw the Holy Spirit descend from heaven like a dove and rest upon him. And we all heard the voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." I started following him shortly thereafter, and a year into his public ministry, he decided to make me one of his 12. Since that moment, I've walked with him, I've talked with him, I've stayed with him, I've prayed with him, and I've tried to learn as much about him and his heavenly Father as I possibly could. And now, he tells us that one of us is to betray him. Surely this is madness. How could this be? Who would do this? Surely the betrayer is out of his mind. But still, I think to myself, is it I? Is it I?
Come, brother, John. Our Lord Jesus was when he first called to us while we were mending our nets by the Sea of Galilee with our father, Zebedee. Our mother, Salome, was quite happy and encouraged us to press our claims on Jesus. So last week, on our way to Jerusalem, we asked the Lord that we could sit by his side when he came into his kingdom. One of us on the right, the other on the left. Jesus said, You don't know what you're asking. You drink of the cup which I will drink. Can you participate in the baptism of which I will be baptized? We cried and said, Lord, we are able. And Jesus said, you will indeed drink of the cup that I will drink from. And we baptized in the baptism which I will experience. But it is not in my power to grant the right or privilege to designate who should sit at my right and my left in my Father's kingdom. The other disciples were angry when they learned of our request. But Jesus said, if you want to be first, you must learn to serve others. And he showed us this by washing our feet before the supper. And now, the one who taught us the way of love has said that one of us would betray him, one of those who would eat others. And I keep wondering, who can it be? Which one of us would do such a thing? And when I think deeply in my own heart, is it I? Is it I?
My name's Andrew, brother Simon Peter. I'm the man who first brought his brother to the Lord. I'm not a gifted man. I'm an average, ordinary man, just like any of you. But I serve the Master the best I can with the gifts and talents that I have. Others call me Andrew the Bringer, for it seems all I have ever done is to bring people close to the Lord. I brought my brother Peter, and I've gloried in his life's transformation ever since. I found a little lad who had the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish the day that Jesus fed the 5,000. And most recently, some Greeks were seeking the Master, and I was called upon once again to deliver them to him. He must have seen something of value in me that others overlooked, as he made me one of the 12 apostles. I've been very close to the Lord. Now, I may not be in the inner circle like my brother Peter, but I'm not in the outer circle either. I've been a friend and a companion. What greater gift could life afford a fisherman? And to know that one of us is going to betray him? Who could it be? Could it be Andrew the Bringer? Is it I? Is it I?
My home is in the village of Kirath in Judea. Here I am known as Judas of Kirath, or Judas Iscariot. Now the others must have confidence in me because they have me their treasure. And Jesus surely must have believed in me because he chose me to be one of his. Some say I've appropriated these funds for my own personal use, and that Jesus' words about the love of money and greed were personally directed at me. Of course I complained when Mary washed his feet with that expensive ointment and perfume. I still think it was a waste of money. And if I conspire with the chief priests, and if I pretend to have 30 pieces of silver on me, so what? That's my affair. I believe in Jesus, but someone has to make him assert himself as God's Messiah. He refused to make a move. Well, I've made one. He hints he knows what I've done. He said so as he washed my feet a few moments ago. But I have my reasons. My soul isn't as black as you think it is, nor is your soul as white. And what would you do if you were in my place and you wanted him to do something dramatic, something startling to usher in his new kingdom? What would you do if you were in his place? What would you do? Should I ignore his remarks? Or, like the others, should I piously ask myself, is it I? Is it I?
My name is Philip. I come from Galilee. One day, Jesus came to Galilee along with John, Simon Peter, and Andrew. And when he saw me, he said, "Follow me." And I went to Nathanael and I said, "We have found the one written about by Moses and the prophets." I remember a time when he was moved with compassion for the crowds that were following him. And he asked me where we would be able to buy enough bread to feed them all. And I responded, not seeing his deity, that not even with 200 denarii or 8 months' wages would we be able to buy enough bread to give everyone one bite. But Andrew had found a young lad with whose lunch of 5 loaves and 2 fishes, the Lord was able to feed the 5,000 men and their families. I also remember when some Greeks came to me seeking Jesus. And I led them to Andrew, and Andrew brought them to the Lord. When Jesus began to tell us that God was our Heavenly Father, it was more than I could understand. But as I have listened to the Master's words, I have come to understand what he was saying. And now I can almost say that in looking at Jesus, I am able to see the Father. Because everything that one would want to find in the Father, one finds in Jesus. And nothing that we do not want to find in the Father do we not find in Jesus. And now, having seen the Father through him, he shocks us by telling us that there is a betrayer amongst our midst. How can that be? Does not this traitor understand that in betraying Jesus, he is betraying God? That in conspiring against Jesus, he is conspiring against God? How can someone in our number be so blind? Who could it be? Is it Philip? Is it I? Is it I?
I am Thomas, the twin, or Thomas called Didymus, which means twin. While I do not look upon life with gloom and despondency, I usually demand proof before I believe, and I want to see before committing myself. Yet I am not a man of doubt. Rather, I feel sometimes that I am a man of daring. I recall the day when Mary and Martha sent word to the Lord that their brother Lazarus was dead. Jesus turned to us and said, "Let us go to him." We knew of the growing opposition to Jesus, and some of the apostles didn't want to go to Bethany. They shrank from the unseen danger. Yet I remember how I spoke out and rebuked them all by saying, "Let us also go with him, that we may die with him." Why do people remember my doubts and forget my daring? Remember the questions and overlook the affirmations. Remember my fear and forget my faith. I used to go fishing with some of the others, and how well I remember the Beatitudes that he spoke during his ministry. And I could almost see him rebuking the winds on stormy Galilee and healing the sick, curing the diseased, opening the eyes of the blind and unstopping the ears of the deaf, cleansing the lepers and preaching the gospel to the poor. Yet opposition has developed, and his enemies are determined to destroy him. He would make us God's servants, while they would make God their servant. And now he says that even among us, the chosen 12, there is a traitor. Is he speaking of me? Is he referring to me? Is it I? Is it I?
After Jesus called Peter and Andrew to follow him, he came to me, John, and my brother James. We were nearby in our boats with our father, Zebedee, mending our nets. He called us, and we immediately left the boat and our father and followed him. Since that time, I have tried to understand Jesus by loving him. Sometimes I believe he's as much of God as will ever possess a human life. Yet I love him as a person, and he has returned my love. Sometimes he calls me the beloved disciple. I have shared his trials, as well as his hours of victory. I was there during the hours of transfiguration and beheld his glory. Peter and I completed the arrangements in celebration for the Passover tonight. Because he numbers us with his close, intimate, inner circle, it was me that he came and told about his talk with Nicodemus when he spoke those wonderful words. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. And for those who ever believe on him will have everlasting life. Someday I want to write down some of his sayings, some of his many, many wonderful deeds, so others may read and believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing they may have life in his name. Yet, He just said that one of us was the betrayer. I cannot believe it. Yet it must be so, or else he would not have said it. Who could it be? Surely not my brother James. Surely not Peter or Andrew. Could it be John, the beloved disciple? Is it I? Is it I?
I am Simon. The Romans called me Simon the Zealot. Yes, I was a zealot, a rebel, a guerrilla fighter who opposed the army of Rome. And it was my mission to ensure defeat of this oppressive occupation and restore glory that it had enjoyed under the kingdom, under the rule of David and Solomon. And I killed my share of Romans to bring that glory back. But then Jesus called me to follow him. I was astounded when he told me of another kind of kingdom, a kingdom of the heart where only God rules. Looking back, I was surprised at how quickly I laid down my sword and followed him. He showed me that the battle of the heart is the only battle worth fighting. And in turn, I gave him my loyalty. And then I did something I thought I would never do. I surrendered. Pledging to think as he thinks, obey as he obeys, serve as he serves, love as he loves, and even love those whom he loves. I might have surrendered, but for the first time in my life, I am actually free. I'm no longer concerned about Rome. Rome may be mighty, but God is almighty. But even now within our group, the Master tells us that there is a deceiver, a traitor, a spiritual Roman, one who will try to take by force what only can be won with love. Who could it be? Matthew, the tax collector? He is a former servant of Rome. Or does everyone suspect me? I am the only one of us with the history of violence. Could it be? Is it I? Is it I?
It was a day that would change my life forever. My brother Andrew and I were fishing on the Sea of Galilee one afternoon, casting our nets into the sea, when Jesus walked by and said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." We immediately left our nets and followed him. I remember one morning, he said, "Simon, put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." I said, "Master, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. There are no fish out there anywhere, but at your word, I will let down the nets." It was amazing. We caught so many fish The nets were breaking. We had to summon other nearby ships and boats to help us contain the catch, or surely we would have sunk. When we reached the shore, I fell down at Jesus' feet and cried, "Depart from me, O Lord, for I am a sinful man." But he told us that he would change our lives, and thereafter we would be fishing for men. In fact, he even changed my name from Simon to Peter, which means the rock. And when I confessed him as the Christ, the Son of the living God, near Caesarea Philippi, he said, "On this rock will I build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it." But a moment later, when I protested against his going to Jerusalem to suffer death at the hands of evil men, he rebuked me and said, "Get thee behind me, Satan. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, merely human concerns." So I'm a mixture of good and evil, of godliness and devilishness, I suppose. Tonight, when he said one of us would betray him, I promised to follow him even unto death. But he warned me that before the cock crowed twice, I would have denied him 3 times. And even though the others call me the big fisherman, in his presence, I feel small and unworthy. Right now, my head is spinning. How can this all be happening? Will I deny him tonight before the rooster crows? And if I do, what will he do? Will he disown me? Will he deny me? Will he close the doors of the kingdom to me? Was he referring to me when he said, "One of you will betray me"? If I knew who this scoundrel was, I'd pierce his heart with this knife I hold in my hand. But maybe it would be my own heart that I would pierce. God, grant it may not be so. Yet I keep wondering and saying to myself, "Lord, is it I? Is it I?"
Before we share this bread, there is one among us whose heart has already turned away.
Lord, what do you say?
Is something wrong?
Master, who is it?
The one who dips his hands with me in this bowl, he is the one.
Rabbi, surely you don't mean me.
You have said it.
Speak of suffering. You speak of darkness and betrayal. But you don't know the shadows I walk in. I thought I knew his kingdom. thought I could force his hand, make him rise in power when he speaks of suffering, and I cannot follow him. Forgive me, or forget me.
Judas, what you are about to do quickly.
Voices, a night of sorrow, a night that would change the world.
My beloved friends, the hour has come. This bread is my body, broken for you.
We felt the world shift, as if heaven leaned close and held its breath.
Lord, how can this be?
What I do now, you will understand later. This cup is the new covenant in my blood, poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins.
Master, must you suffer?
Love always suffers for the beloved. You have followed me faithfully, and where I go, you will one day follow. As often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, remember me.
And we knew this meal was not an ending, but a beginning, a covenant written not on stone, but on hearts.
Come to the table and remember Jesus. I didn't do it.
Let us go to the garden.
We will pray for you, Rabbi.
And your prayers will strengthen me.
My son, may the Holy One give you strength for what must come.
Mother, your faith has always been my comfort.
And so he walked into the night, the lamb towards the altar, the shepherd towards the wolves, the son towards the cup, that he alone could drink. We watched him go, our hearts breaking, our souls trembling, knowing the world would never be the same, knowing that something horrifying was about to happen.
You're on. Off.
Well, do you guys want to be here and do you want to go? Okay.